Should couples do open bar from the beginning of the evening or no?
I didn't want to freak her out because she was already crying. So I said, listen,
Like, why do venues put a cake?
I'm not quite sure.
Have you ever had a DIY bride before where they did their own floral?
Usually I wouldn't go more than 10 people per table.
Do you recommend people have assigned seating?
No one has ever stolen an envelope box though.
What happens to the vibe of the wedding when an ambulance shows up at your wedding?
Always include yourselves in your meal choices and your count of guests because no one ever does.
I might be that bride crying, I don't know.
And I'm like, oh my God, the cake is not here.
Oh no.
So they called the bakery and the bakery forgot to deliver it.
And I just see the cake falls on who? Welcome to Wedding Wednesday, the podcast that's about to spill all the tea on what it's like to plan a wedding from the bride's perspective and all the details no one talks about. I'm creating the podcast I need to keep me sane and feeling less alone as I plan my own wedding. We're diving deep into the hilarious, messy, and sometimes crazy world of wedding planning and wedding horror stories. Get ready to laugh, cry, and maybe feel a little less alone in this wedding planning madness. Hello. Welcome back to Wedding Wednesday. My name is Adriana, and today we're speaking with a venue coordinator. She's going to teach us what we need to know when it comes to choosing a venue and choosing a caterer. With that, let's welcome Cassandra. Hi. Cassandra. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you feeling today?
Nervous.
A little nervous?
Yeah.
We're just having a girly conversation. We're going to talk about venues. But I want to know, to kick things off, tell me a bit about what it is about the bridal industry that made you want to go in that for your career.
Well, honestly, I always started off at restaurants. So I was never a 9 to 5 sit at my desk kind of girl. And then from there, I just enjoyed planning all the private events that were at the restaurants. And I was like, you know what, maybe we'll try something else. Looked on LinkedIn, it was one day, and found a job opening there and applied and got it. So
amazing.
Yeah.
Tell me about your day-to-day. I'm very curious. What does a venue coordinator do on a day-to-day? Is every day different?
Every day is very different, honestly. Today I was swamped with emails, setting up a hall for this weekend.
Okay. So you start Thursday. So we're Thursday today.
No, I start Tuesday.
You start setting up for an event on Saturday as of Tuesday.
If I have the hall available, then yeah.
Okay. And what does the setup look like for you guys as a venue?
Well, tables, tablecloths, chairs, head table, centerpieces, all the cutlery, utensils. And then Friday, if my hall is available the day before, then all the extra stuff comes in that the bride and groom want to add.
Okay. I don't know if this ever happens, that you have a wedding on the Friday and a wedding on the Saturday.
And a Sunday.
And a Sunday.
Yeah.
So then if the bride of the Friday didn't choose the same seats and tablecloths as the bride on Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah.
I say the bride because typically
yeah, for sure.
Decisions. But the newlywed couple, they what do you do? I'm assuming it puts a wrench in your plans of setting up as of Tuesday.
Well, the advantage of where I work is we have a lot of halls. So we have one hall that we can literally set up the tables for the previous, the Saturday and Sunday events in another hall. So we have them there.
Yeah.
Once the event wraps up at 2 a.m, they clean that up and they bring in my new tables.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay. So then in terms of coordinating, you're coordinating all that with do you guys have an outside company who comes and does the decor, or you guys do it all in-house?
Well, that depends. We include a few basic things. If the brides want to go and get something extra, then we do work with outside vendors. And then I'm pretty familiar with them all. So they just come in either the day of or the day before, and they set up their stuff.
Okay. A lot of venues actually offer a venue coordinator, which is amazing because then it helps the newlywed couple not necessarily have to outsource that to somebody else.
Right.
But tell me, if somebody does choose to hire an outside coordinator and you're also on site, what do your jobs kind of look like, both of you?
So if they hire an event planner, they're going to be with them basically the whole day.
Yeah.
So she'll probably be with them in the morning while she's getting their hair done, at the church. She'll be doing all of that stuff. I can still do that, but they hired someone else to do that. And basically I have the upper hand because it's in my hall. So
yeah.
It's a little bit more easier for me. So then they have to ask all kinds of questions before they can get the okay and stuff like that. But pretty much I do the same thing.
Okay. You do the same thing. I've heard a lot of feedback from just different brides in general that some venue coordinators like yourself are amazing. You're hands-on, you got this. And others, they tell you that a venue coordinator is available and will be there, and then they get to the day and actually that venue coordinator was not
Is not there.
helpful. Yeah. So what would you say somebody should ask to make sure, like, or to kind of like gauge where that venue coordinator is gonna fall, if you will?
Well, usually closer to the date, I usually give out my phone number to the brides and grooms in case they want to contact me that day. Yes, I know you're very busy, so it's fine, but they usually pass on my number to someone in their bridal party, their parents, and all that. I'm typically there in the morning as of 9:30, and I don't leave until the sweet table is done.
Okay.
So I'm always around. Someone could always find me. Um, If I won't happen to be there, which is very rare that I'm not, I will let the bride and groom know so that they're not disappointed.
Yeah.
I won't like ghost them and not be like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not here,
Yeah.
and figure it out for yourself. But yeah, so I'm very extremely hands-on. I actually like what I do a lot most of the days. But yeah, you'll always find me. I'll always be around, and I'm always on my phone answering my emails. You could reach me anytime.
Yeah. So I trust you when you say that. But then other people sometimes say that, and then the day of it doesn't happen, right?
Yeah.
What would you say to look out for in terms of signs to gauge whether or not somebody should hire somebody outside as a backup, if you will?
Me, honestly, responses to questions and emails is number one for me.
Okay.
It makes me nervous if I have emails sitting in that I haven't read or responded to.
Yeah.
So I think a fast response,
Okay.
whenever they try to get in contact with you, you're available for them.
Yeah.
The day of setup, if you're there, they have questions, they have an opinion, they want to change something, you're present. I think that would probably be.
Okay. So fast response is a good like signal to gauge whether or not they're going to be more hands-on or not.
100%.
That's a very good tip, actually. And I can vouch for you. You're very fast at responding.
It makes me nervous if I don't respond.
Yeah. That's probably type A in you.
Yeah, it's special.
Yeah. Let's talk about the setup the day of, okay? Let's say have you ever had a DIY bride before where they did their own florals?
Oh, a lot of like florals, you mean?
Florals.
I've had florals, other kinds of centerpieces, table numbers.
What about the sign?
Yep, a lot of them do that too.
Okay, so let's say you have a bride-to-be who's a DIY girly. She did all her centerpieces already.
Perfect.
First of all, when is she delivering that? When should she deliver that to you?
Mm-hmm.
And secondly, are you setting that up for her after if she doesn't have an outside coordinator?
So basically, if the hall is available the day before, I will, like I said, I will be present, but they can set up the stuff themselves.
Okay.
If the hall happens to not be available and Saturday morning, I'm not going to ask them to come in and be like, okay, let's set this up. They leave me all their stuff, and then Saturday morning, I'll set everything up according to how they want it.
You do it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's good to know. I'm asking as somebody who's considering being a DIY bride.
Okay, that's fine.
I haven't decided yet, but it appeals to me because it saves you a lot of money.
It does, and it's actually kind of fun.
Yeah, it is kind of fun, and you can rally around, like get a bunch of women together,
Of course, and
like,
do it together. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm definitely like toying with it. I don't know about doing everything DIY myself, but like maybe some things.
A lot of people do like their welcome signs, their seating charts.
Yeah.
By themselves.
Yeah.
In case you're looking for ideas, mirrors are very in right now.
Mirrors, yeah.
Mirrors are very in.
Mm-hmm.
Plexi signs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've also seen just like simple tables with like just like a nicely placed.
The name cards.
Yeah, the name cards. I think that's really, really nice. Do you help out when it comes to the seating chart? Like, do you recommend people have assigned seating, first of all?
Well, okay. So the way I work is for my meal choices during service, I ask that everyone have a meal choice card.
Yeah.
So like the guest's name with what they have for their main course.
Okay.
It's easier for my waiters. It's easier for service.
Yeah.
So it's guaranteed that everyone gets what they want, what they put on the invitation.
Yeah. The seating chart. Do you help out with the seating chart? Like, do you recommend assigned seating where like there's a dedicated spot? And if so, like, do you also sit down with the couple and like plan the seating chart with them?
Not usually plan the seating chart with them. Assigned seating is up to you, honestly. It's whether or not you care who's sitting next to who, or everyone could sit where they want. So yeah, basically it's what you feel like.
What about
it doesn't make it easier or anything, but
in regards to the floor plan of the room?
Yeah.
Do you recommend a specific floor plan depending on the room?
It depends. All my rooms are different, so all my floor plans are very different.
Okay.
Usually I wouldn't go more than 10 people per table.
Okay.
Just because after 10 people, it becomes a little bit squished.
Okay.
and you want everyone to be comfortable. But I do recommend meal cards, like I mentioned. So that's easier for you. Guaranteed all your guests will be happy. Assigned seating, even if you don't want to do it, just put the name card in the middle. They can sit where they want and just grab it.
Okay. So let's say I'm making my seating chart, but I don't know like the dimensions of the room or maybe not the meal plan, but the tables, like how you would recommend setting them up. Do you hand out kind of like a guide chart?
Honestly, no.
No? People just like roll the dice?
People wing
really?
it. Yeah.
And how do they know that it's going to work well or not?
Sometimes it does. Sometimes it doesn't.
Okay.
The majority of my brides, it has worked out.
Okay.
I mean, I've had some weddings where I've had a table of 3, which was kind of sad, honestly.
That is very sad.
That was a little sad.
You didn't have a table small enough for 3?
No, so I had a regular size table with just 3 seats.
Oh, that's sad.
It was a little sad, but I didn't want to put like a weird square looking table because it would just thrown off all the aesthetic of the hall itself.
Yeah.
But I mean, if they do need help, I don't really know their guests and who knows who, so it's a little bit difficult for me. But usually most of them can figure it out.
Okay. So you're kind of, it seems like you're recommending like tables of 10, pretty safe bet.
Yep.
Plus, anyway, your rooms, you know already, like if the couple is planning for a certain amount of guests, like you know which rooms to recommend anyway.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, if you want it to be easier for your seating chart, obviously, bridal party, I would always sit together.
Okay. Aside from the couple?
I would put my parents closest to the couple, both sets of parents. And then next to them, your bridal party, and then closer family.
Do you like an honor table of just the couple, or do you prefer an honor table with a couple and some guests?
I prefer just the 2 of them.
Tell me why.
I just prefer it, honestly. You go to a restaurant, you're always with your friends. This is your day. Just be the 2 of you.
Yeah. I've heard also that you're going to want that time to just like decompress for a second.
If you can, yeah.
If you have it. Like if you get to be lucky enough to eat during one of the courses, you're sitting and you could just like, not have to
talk just amongst the 2 of you.
Yeah. By the same token, I think it is nice also for the couple to be with their guests and their friends. And
next weekend I have a couple that's doing their whole bridal party at their head table, 16 people.
Okay.
Majority of them this weekend, all the 2 of them. So
yeah, fair enough.
What are you thinking of doing?
I think just honor table.
Yeah.
But at first I was really down for the being like, first of all, I don't even have a big bridal party. I'm just doing my maid of honor and my fiance has his best man.
Right.
We're stopping there with our bridal parties. So maybe we would have sat with like our family.
Okay.
But then as I was starting to look at the day, we're Middle Eastern, so we do like so much. Like, are you Italian?
Yes.
Yeah. So you probably get it. Like there's a whole thing at the bride's house before the church, and then we're going to the church.
Yeah,
and then
outfit changes too?
Like
outfit changes?
I don't know yet. I haven't gotten to that point yet. I don't think so. I like the idea of wearing my dress all day. I will have a backup dress in case something happens to my dress.
For sure.
But ideally, there's no, for me, I can't say for my fiance if he needs to change a shirt or something. But anyway, I'm just thinking like all day is going to be like a lot of people from very early to the end of the day. And so it appeals to me to just be him and I at the honor table.
Yeah,
if we, like I said, like have that moment to just like,
I get it.
Be together.
A lot of people too, like you can do your honor table, and like how I usually do it around in my hall, around the dance floor, I'll do like a rectangular table with like the bridal party and then like a rectangular table for the families.
Okay.
You could do that.
Okay.
Or you could put like just a rectangular table in front of you if you wanted to.
Yeah. Okay, there's options.
There's a lot.
I was thinking of doing something really funky.
Sorry.
Well, funky. I don't know if it's funky, but I saw on Pinterest like a square dance floor is like turned into kind of like a diamond.
Okay.
So you've got the honor table here, let's say, and your DJ here, but like the square of the dance floor kind of points like that. And I really like the idea of putting 4 long tape
along it. Around the
along it.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen that design before?
Not the 4 tables, but 2. I've done 2.
You've done 2. Yeah. So again, this is like something I don't even know if my venue will accommodate or not, but I thought it was really cool. And I was wondering if maybe you had seen.
No, only the 2 tables.
Only 2 tables.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe it's like not practical.
Well, it also depends on the space too, I guess. So
yeah. So along the lines of the space, do you recommend that couples do a few venue walkthroughs to kind of get an idea of what they want for their decor, or is really not necessary?
Well, I don't know. Are you a nervous bride?
I'm a type A bride.
Okay.
So type A meaning I like the things be, but nervous about things going wrong. I think we all have that to an extent.
Oh, for sure.
But I'm the type of person who's like, I did this for my engagement party. I felt like I gave 110% into making sure it had its best chance of performing. And the day of, if it didn't perform, whatever, at least I gave 110%.
Right.
So I'm kind of approaching the wedding the same way.
Okay, perfect. I mean, if you're more of stressed out, nervous, I would recommend, if it makes you feel better, to come as many times as you want. The venue's not going to change.
Yeah.
If you're more of a visual kind of person, just to see it. I mean, it's not always going to be set up how you want to see it.
Yeah.
But I mean, if it makes you feel better, 100%, you guys can come by whenever you guys want.
And it gives like ideas to the couple.
For sure.
Decor.
Then they see an empty space here. Oh, maybe we can fill it with this. Maybe we can do this. Maybe we'll switch this that way. Yeah. If that's what they want to do, we can do it.
Okay. So do people often choose not to go with the catering of the venue too?
It comes with the catering.
Yeah.
So you don't really have a choice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, there are the rare kinds of times where people ask to bring in their own caterers and stuff, but the majority of the time it is with us.
Okay. And if the couple, for example, wants to have, I don't know, something at like the midnight table that you guys don't offer, do you offer that too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like if people want to bring in like a traditional dish that we don't offer and stuff like that, canapes from where they're from, we have no problems with that.
Tell me about a cake cutting fee. There's a lot of venues that do cake cutting fee.
We don't have a cake cutting fee.
Like, why do venues put a cake cutting fee?
I'm not quite sure. They also, some of them have like a bottle corking fee, like with the open bottles.
Really?
We don't have that.
Yeah. Our venue is also run by Italians, so they don't have that either.
So, no, when people ask me if we have a cake cutting fee, I'm kind of shocked because I would never charge to cut a cake.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah. There was one venue that asked me why we didn't go with them. And I was really honest. I said, like, guys, you have hidden fees everywhere. I'll tell you which venue after. But they have hidden fees every single place, like in their like package. It was like open bar for 3 hours, every additional hour, extra fee, cake cutting fee, outside vendor fee for every single person.
So every vendor that you brought in from outside, they would have to
$3 per person at the venue on top. So let's say you brought...
I'm curious to know who this is.
I'll tell you after. Let's say you brought like 3 outside vendors, $9 per person more just to accommodate them. Like the fees were...
That doesn't even make sense, honestly.
No, it didn't. Like, because they're not even, responsible for those outside vendors. At least I don't think they would be. Maybe telling them where to set up. Other than that, I don't see how.
No, they're not anyone's responsibility but their own, yeah.
But some venues, I feel like they try to keep a prestige, which fair enough. And by adding all those extra fees, it kind of, I guess, makes them feel like they're doing that.
I guess.
But I was really honest with them and I said, guys, like, we loved your venue, but they were way more than the venue we went with and for a very similar vibe overall. So when the market's like that, it's difficult.
Well, of course it is.
Yeah.
You don't want any extra fees on your bill
at
the end of the night?
No.
No.
No. Not okay.
It's not.
I'm glad you guys don't do it.
No, we don't.
Should couples do open bar from the beginning of the evening or no?
That's a great question. Honestly, it really depends on your crowd.
Okay.
If your crowd are big drinkers, I would honestly recommend it. Personally, I've never been to a wedding where there hasn't been an open bar from cocktail.
Do you include weddings that do, let's say, not open bar at the cocktail, but they'll do signature drinks?
So we have a few options. We have like the signature drink option. So the his and hers.
Yeah.
We can do just wine.
Yeah.
We can do wine and beer. Or actually, those are the 3 options. And then later on in the evening, like we can do open bar after bridal party entrance.
Yeah.
Open bar after main course. Open bar for a certain number of hours. It really depends on your crowd, honestly.
Is it less expensive to do, let's say, signature drinks for cocktail hour, wine service at dinner, and then open bar after dinner, let's say?
Less, yeah.
It's less expensive to do that. But does it still I feel like it still gives the vibe of open bar.
It does.
Yeah.
But then also, like, a lot of people also consider, well, it's hard to just do wine and signature cocktails because some people are very picky with what they drink. Some of them don't drink what you serve at your signature cocktail.
True.
Some people don't have wine during dinner. So it's very difficult. So you really have to know your crowd more in order to determine that.
To gauge that.
Yeah.
Okay, it's good to know. Have you ever seen anybody get so drunk?
A lot of times.
Tell us the time that somebody got so drunk and like, do you know what went wrong? Like, how did they get this drunk?
I'm pretty sure there was pre-drinking involved.
Yeah. So in the day, you mean?
Yeah, in the day. And later on, I think it was just abuse of other substances plus alcohol.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And it made for...
I made for 2 people passed out and leaving in ambulances.
No.
Yeah.
And then what happens, like, what happens to the vibe of the wedding when an ambulance shows up at your wedding?
I mean, it throws everybody off 100%.
For sure.
Everyone is all rattled. But
For
I
sure.
mean, we went to go see the bride. I went to go see the bride and she's like, it's okay, let them leave. And then she's like, I don't want this to ruin my wedding. So let's dim the lights again and let's continue on.
Who was it related to? And
It was the bride's brother.
she was a great sport about it.
Oh, yeah.
But maybe she said something she expected.
I mean, she was mad.
Yeah.
She was mad, but like, she's like, I'm not going to ruin my day just for this.
No.
He turned out to be okay, thank God.
Thank God. Yeah.
But yeah, she was like, I'm just going to forget this happened and continue.
That's insane.
Yeah.
How do you handle things like last minute emergencies and decisions at the venue? How often does this honestly happen?
Quite often.
Like, would you say every wedding has to an extent a last minute decision that happens or things you have to handle?
Well, so me at my venue, we have a ceremony space outside.
Yes. Okay.
So that is a last minute decision that has to be made by me and the couples,
Yeah.
determining, like, just judging by what the weather is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a little stressful.
For sure, that's stressful.
I'm sure the brides want to get married outside versus inside another reception hall, you know?
Yes.
Even though the ceremony is short and everything, they just want that vibe outside.
100%. I can relate.
So I try and push it as much as I can.
Yeah.
If I see during the week the weather is just not changing, I got to make a decision and be like, okay, guys, I'm sorry, but this is what we got to do. Like last Saturday, it was raining in the morning. It was cold. It was ugly.
weird
And then
weather.
at 3 o'clock, the sun came out and it was super hot. So I waited till like 1 o'clock to make my decision.
And what was it?
Outside.
Okay, great.
I waited. Yeah, I waited.
And I mean, I'm assuming you're not the one like bringing out all the chairs yourself.
No, so the chairs stay outside. We just have to go by and clean them every Saturday and like just fix up the space itself just so that it's presentable.
Yeah, no, fair.
Yeah.
In regards to that, actually, I didn't realize that venues do this, but we were shopping in the wintertime and we were seeing this happen. A lot of venues renovate in the wintertime. What is that face? Like, tell me how you feel about that.
Well, we have a lot of ideas. We just don't execute them.
Why?
I don't know.
Cost money.
It does cost money. But then I think I always think to myself, we're like a little slower in the winter. We're not that much slower in the winter.
Yeah, because Peter was telling me you guys have a lot of like corporate events.
Corporate.
Yeah. So then it would require probably like loss of revenue.
Exactly. I mean, we did do one hall. We did redo the floors in one.
Yeah, he showed it to us.
And that took a while. That took, I think, 2 months.
Yeah.
Thank God we didn't use it. But like we were also planning on redoing the curtains in one. Didn't get around to it. Fixing the curtains downstairs in another. We didn't get around to it. So it's like all these things that we think we have so much time to do that we just don't.
Yeah.
And it sucks.
Question for you. We saw the orchard as well.
I haven't seen it yet.
You haven't seen it yet?
Not live.
Not live.
No.
We didn't see the tent.
Oh, I have a picture.
You have to show me after.
I will.
We didn't see the tent, sadly, but I was gonna ask you, but you haven't seen it. Are you married?
No.
No. If you were getting married, would you choose the orchard or would you choose Plaza 𝐬𝐻𝐫?
Oh my word. I don't know. It's definitely 2 different vibes.
Totally.
2 different vibes.
Yeah.
I mean, 𝐬𝐻𝐫 also has the indoor-outdoor aspect too.
They do, yep.
So that's a plus. But one of them has a tent outside. So like you're outside.
Yeah. It's too hard to decide.
I wouldn't know.
You wouldn't know.
I wouldn't know.
Would it bother you to have 3-4 other weddings going on at the same time?
I can do max 5 at one time.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
But if you were bride-to-be, would that bother you or doesn't bother you?
I mean, they all have, after cocktail and everything, everyone stays in the hall anyway, so that really wouldn't bother me.
Okay.
It might bother some, honestly. It really does bother some.
Yeah.
People always ask me how many other weddings they have that day.
Yeah.
But no, it wouldn't really bother me, honestly.
Me, it bothered me.
It wouldn't.
Yeah. But we chose a venue that had 2. 2. So it's okay. It's like a compromise.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard to get everything you want.
For sure.
If you're not doing destination, it's like a really hard.
I know.
Yeah. But I was just curious to see if that would bother
It
you.
wouldn't really bother. Well, it might bother me this weekend though.
Oh, why? You have 5?
No, I have 3,
Okay.
but it's looking like it's gonna rain.
Yeah.
So that means all my cocktails are now inside. My
Yeah.
ceremonies are all inside.
Yeah.
So that makes me a little stressed.
Yeah. We visited one venue where the coffee bar, they were like showing it as a selling point. They were like, we have a coffee bar. Your guests will love it. People really do love a coffee bar.
Yeah.
But it's shared with the hall right next door.
Okay, so everyone, it's like a common little coffee bar, right?
It's a common coffee bar.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, that's for me not a selling point. Do you guys keep everything separate or can you mingle?
I try to keep it separate as much as I can.
Yeah.
But then, you always have people that don't know where they're going, end up
Yeah.
at the wrong place.
Yeah.
So I try.
Easier said than done.
It is a lot easier said than done,
Yeah.
honestly.
No, fair enough. Totally.
Even with signage everywhere, some people just don't read.
Yeah. Tell me about the cake.
Hmm.
Why is it sitting out for hours on end?
That depends. So a lot of people nowadays just go with a completely fake cake.
Okay.
So that really
but
doesn't...
if it's a real, do people leave out the real cake? Oh, ew. I'm sorry.
If it's fondant, it's fine because fondant can last for hours.
But what about the inside of it?
It's fine.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, then not you.
No, it's not ew at all.
Okay.
Fondant is fine. Buttercream is a different story because obviously it's cream and it melts.
Right.
So that I would recommend just taking out maybe right before main course and stuff like that. Fondant is fine though.
Okay.
Cupcakes are okay.
Yeah. Fair enough. Like, I didn't realize that. I just always thought, well, there's dairy in there. It's going to go bad.
No.
But I guess it's shelf stable when you cook it.
Yeah.
Okay. That's good to know. Have you ever seen a cake fall?
Yeah.
What happened?
It was one of my first weddings there, and it was actually right after COVID.
Yeah.
And the cousin of the bride wanted to make her cake as a first time.
She wanted to make her cake as
first
her
time. First cake. And she decided to do like 3 tiers.
Wait, first cake ever or first wedding cake?
First wedding cake.
Well, yeah, that's insane.
Yeah. And then to top off, to separate the 3rd tier and the 1st tier, she put some sort of shape.
Oh no.
Yeah. So she put some sort of shape. And when she brought it in, she assembled it in the hall and put the top tier on. And then while they were doing cocktail outside, because they got married in February, when they were doing cocktail outside, I came in the hall to check everything, and I noticed the cake had fell.
Oh, it fell by itself.
It fell by itself.
Oh, did it melt or?
No, it smashed.
Oh my God.
So I ran from across the hall. Didn't know why, because I'm not going to save it anyways. Poor cake.
No, but you were just eager to see it.
I was like,
probably.
what can I do?
Yeah.
And then I had to go, unfortunately, tell the bride because I didn't know who the cousin was because I didn't see her. And I was like, you have to go find your cousin because your cake fell.
And what did she say?
Well, she went to go find it, and she wasn't mad about it because her cousin tried from the goodness of her heart.
Yeah.
There. She tried to fix it. I think we chopped off half the tier of the top tier, and then she tried to pipe it around and try to make it look as best as it can.
Okay.
We tried.
Oh, so you kind of saved it.
Ish.
Okay, because I was gonna say if somebody the cake is on the floor. I went to a wedding where
I haven't seen a full cake smash.
I went to a wedding. I have to tell you the story. They're rolling out the cake, and I don't know what happened. There were wires on the floor.
Oh no!
And the waiters c'est accroché, they got hooked on it, and I just see the cake falls on who? On my father-in-law. The cake was all over him, all over his pants, all over the floor. Rest in peace, cake. The cake was bye bye. They weren't mad. My father-in-law was mad, obviously. He was what the heck, The bride and groom didn't seem mad. I feel like by the time you get to your wedding day, there's for sure some couples that are the bridezilla, the groomzilla, whatever. Yeah. But I'm sure by the day you're there, you're just happy it's happening.
Done, right?
It's done. The planning is over. If the cake goes to the floor, the cake goes to the floor.
There are worse things that could happen,
there
honestly.
There are worse things. Yeah. Really, there are.
I've had a cake not show up one time.
Okay. Did you guys can you supplement a cake if something like that happens?
So the good thing is I kind of collect fake cakes.
Okay.
Yeah. So if people...
Where do you find them?
People bring them and then they don't take them home. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to use them in case I ever have an emergency.
That's smart.
So one day I had 4 weddings going on. It was chaos everywhere. And then the bride was asking me, where's my cake? Where's my cake? And I had already done the tour of the fridges 5 times. Not look I didn't see it. And I'm like, oh my God, the cake is not here.
Oh no.
So they called the bakery, and the bakery forgot to deliver it. Yeah, the bakery forgot to deliver it. So the poor bride, I didn't want to freak her out. I'll tell you.
Yeah, tell me after.
I didn't want to freak her out because she was already crying. So I said, listen, I have a...
She was already crying
She was
because the
crying.
cake didn't get delivered?
Yeah.
Okay, see, like some couples just can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I ran in the
I
back.
say that, but I might be that bride crying. I don't know.
It's okay. It was like custom. It was like pink and fluffy and stuff like that. That's how she wanted it. But I had a white cake, but at least I had something. So I went there. I slapped on a little cake topper, put it on display. No one really knew about the cake besides like me, Peter, and the bride and groom. And then Peter had gone to the kitchen to see the chef to see if we had like a slab cake that we can just chop up and then just serve. So at least like no one knew except for us.
Right. And in the end, he found a slab cake.
We found a slab cake. It was actually the same flavor as their cake, which was great.
Oh.
It was red velvet, so it was good.
The stars aligned.
Yeah, it did.
Okay, good. I'm glad to hear that.
It was okay.
Amazing. I have some listener questions for you.
Let's see.
Let's dive into a few of these.
All right.
So, what should the bride provide so you can do your job the most efficiently possible?
The most efficiently possible. I would say like a PDF of like your meals, your table numbers, your allergies. Allergies super important. Super important. So I like a breakdown of like table 1 has this many people, their names, what they're eating as their main course, and if there's allergies.
Yeah.
That is very important for me.
Okay. And if you're setting up the decor, what would you say you need?
Honestly, if the bride wants to take pictures beforehand so I could replicate it exactly how she wants it, because I don't want her to be disappointed on her wedding day, that helps.
Yeah.
That helps.
Okay. Good to know. What are your responsibilities specifically from the month before to the day of? As somebody said, mine is pretty lax, but maybe I'm too type A. So I'm concerned about delegating this day to someone and I don't know how they run things.
Okay. I'm pretty much responsible for everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is everything? Just like a bullet point list.
Coordination with the vendors. When they come in, I tell them where to go because I have the floor plan, cake deliveries, and make sure that it's all there.
You get the floor plan a month before or more?
Well, I make the floor plan.
Okay.
And then...
What is the difference between a floor plan and seating chart? I think that's what I was trying to ask you earlier.
So seating chart is basically the little board that you have with all the names.
Okay. I was trying to ask you about floor plan.
Floor plan is just basically, you know, like I'll give you a plan of the hall with tables on them.
Yeah.
You input the numbers and how many guests and where you want them.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. And that's done when?
I usually do tastings with my brides. So after my original tasting with them, I have a face-to-face meeting and I give them their floor plan.
Okay, so that could be well before a month then.
Oh my God, that's well before a month. That's like at least 5-6 months before.
Okay, so just to recap, sorry, you said floor plan.
Vendors.
Coordinating with vendors.
Vendors, cake deliveries. In case we're missing something, I'm always there. Bridal suites. In case guests, brides and grooms, they want to get ready on site, they can. Honestly, pictures of like how they want their stuff set up.
Yep.
And that's it.
How do you coordinate the famous envelope box? What happens there? Like, how do you keep it safe, if you will?
Well, a lot of people don't really opt for receiving lines anymore, honestly.
Not receiving lines, but just like there's typically always a box where you could put your card.
For sure.
And then somebody takes that box and puts it safely somewhere, right?
So
what happens with that?
Yeah, we have a few options. So like if you do a receiving line, for instance, the box is going to be next to you because you're receiving all your guests.
Yeah.
If not, we usually have a little table set up with the guest book and the envelope box.
Yeah.
So we can either have it on display at cocktail. Yeah. So outside the hall or either inside the hall. And then once all the guests are seated and stuff like that, someone will take the box, either hide it with them, put it in the bridal suite. Yeah. Yeah, that's usually what we... No one has ever stolen an envelope box, though.
A knock on wood.
I have yet to see that.
I've heard stories.
Thank God that hasn't happened to me.
Stories. Horror. I even heard a story of a wedding a few months ago. This is not a horror story, but there was a guest who showed up to their wedding, but it was in a hall with like 4 weddings. And he went into their wedding thinking that was the wedding he was going to.
Oh, no. He
gave him the envelope. He danced the night away and then he went home. This guy...
How did he not realize he didn't know these people?
He realized he didn't know these people. And they only realized like a week later. And when the bride and groom opened their cards, they realized like they didn't even know who that guest was. So long story short, they ended up having to coordinate to bring him back the envelope so he can give it to the right couple.
Oh my God.
Can you believe?
No.
Even guests get confused.
But if you're in a room with people you don't know, wouldn't you put 2 and 2 together and be like, I'm maybe not in the right spot?
You would think, but some people just don't think.
Yeah, no. Yeah, it's common sense.
Oh my God.
People are crazy.
So just to go back to that question, if like those are all the things like you're kind of responsible for, if this bride feels that the coordinator on site is too lax, would you suggest that bride maybe delegate some of these things to somebody else that she trusts?
You could, 100%.
Just to make sure it's done.
For sure, for sure. It's always good to have extra hands.
Mm-hmm.
Not too good to have too many chefs in the kitchen there, but like maybe 1 or 2 other people. But
yeah,
if it makes the bride feel better, for sure.
Yeah. What would be the basic checklist the bride and groom have to prepare to ensure everything runs out smoothly at the venue for D-Day? Is there a checklist off the top of your head?
Checklist. Always include yourselves in your meal choices and your count of guests because no one ever does. Ever. Ever, ever, ever.
Really?
All the time.
All the Type A brides, they forget to include themselves.
Yep. Yep.
I guess a tip for that is because when we wrote out our guest list, we included our names.
Okay, that's good though.
Yeah. We included ourselves. So maybe that's the tip is like in your guest list, like include yourselves just to make sure you don't forget. Put yourselves first. Yes. Make sure you don't forget your meal.
Because every time I have a meeting with my brides, I ask them, I'm like, okay, so this is the guest list, but your guys are not on it. Are you not going to eat?
What do they say to that?
Oh no, we forgot.
Oh my God.
That is important.
Okay.
Checklist. I just going over checking my tables that they correspond with my floor plan.
Yeah.
Because nothing is worse than having to run into the hall and set up a spot at a table when guests are coming in.
Yeah.
Hate that.
Yeah.
Not my favorite thing.
Does that happen where like guests came in like that they didn't realize we're gonna be there? They crashed the wedding essentially.
Yeah.
You see wedding crashers.
Yeah.
And the couple like lets it roll.
Oh, actually, sometimes the couple just forgets that they were coming.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about? Have you ever seen a couple like not let it roll where the wedding crashers they want to kick them out?
Yeah.
What do you do to kick them out?
You say, I'm sorry, you're not on the guest list. You need to leave.
Do you ever escort anyone out?
No, we've never escorted anyone
People
out.
respectfully leave.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Things the couple shouldn't worry about. I think we're usually so focused on our seemingly never-ending to-do list. Sometimes it's helpful for me to know upfront what I don't need to worry about so I can put it out of my mind. That's a very good question.
It is a good question.
Yeah.
Well, like you mentioned, you're planning so hard for this. You have such high expectations.
Yeah.
If anything is going to happen, just let it go.
Yeah.
Honestly, let it go.
Yeah.
It's your day. You don't want it ruined.
Right.
What shouldn't they worry about? Little silly things.
Like cake delivery, should we not worry about that?
I don't know. I would always be concerned about a cake delivery, but
Okay.
if it does happen, it happens. There's not really much we can do.
What is a
unfortunately.
little silly thing?
I don't know. Like if you forgot. Well, the rings are important. Don't forget that. I've had people forget that too.
No, facts. Like, of course. There's so many things.
There
I
is.
put together an entire checklist of everything I need to bring. It's so long. It's like so long.
Yeah, it is. I know it's long. But I don't know. Just the little things that are going to happen. I don't know. If something spills on your dress, don't worry about it.
Mm-hmm.
Usually we have a 𝐼2𝐺 pen.
Okay.
Usually
That's
we
good to
do.
know.
If the bottom of your dress rips a little bit, don't worry about it.
It's fine.
No one's going to
Nobody
see it.
notices.
No one's going to see it. I promise.
Yeah.
If you guys forgot, like, I don't know, some gifts at home, like for your guests or something, or
Mhm.
a candle goes out on the table, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Little silly things like that, don't worry.
Let it go. So there's nothing specific not to worry about.
No, honestly, I don't really think so.
Yeah.
Like, do you have some-
Unfortunately,
Do you have some?
that I don't worry about. No, I worry about everything. But like I said, the day comes and it's all going out the window.
It is.
Whatever happens,
In a
happens.
few short hours.
In a few short hours. Like,
Yep.
whatever happens, happens. I'm just happy to be marrying my fiance.
There you go.
And like, if all hell breaks loose, then so be it. Like,
There
we
you
can
go.
go to McDonald's and eat if anything. It's
Yep.
fine.
There you go.
You know,
Exactly.
as long as you know within yourself, you gave your best chance to this wedding performing, that's all you can do.
That's it. That's all you
Some
can do.
things are out of our control.
100% they are.
All right, one more question before we play a quick game of Would You Rather.
Okay.
Questions couples should ask the day of coordinator they're considering so they can find out if that day of coordinator is the right vendor for them.
Okay.
Couple
Well, how
questions.
present is that girl going to be?
Great question.
Yeah.
Is that the only question?
What exactly is she gonna do? What is she gonna take responsibility for?
Yeah, because every venue has
Yeah.
a different list. Yeah.
For sure.
Mhm.
I'm trying to think here. What else? So how I coordinate my stuff is I'm the coordinator of the hall, and then each hall has their own head waiter.
Yeah.
So he's technically responsible for, so he's technically helping me out too,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I'm always in the halls anyways. He's helping me out with like the service and stuff like that. If the bride and groom need anything, he lets me know, I'll go see them. So that helps a little bit.
Okay.
Other than that, no, I don't really, just how present or hands-on this girl is actually going to be.
Yeah. And I would probably also say, like, just trust your gut based on how they speak to you.
For sure. 100%.
Yeah.
If you vibe good with the person, then you should be fine.
It should be fine.
Yeah.
Love it. All right, Cassandra, let's play Would You Rather, venue coordinator edition.
Okay.
Would you rather deal with a bridezilla or a groomzilla?
Honestly, a bridezilla.
Yeah. My venue said the same thing.
A bridezilla.
We signed the contract and he goes, oh, if I see the groom is already asking for all these things, I know it's not going to go well. I was like, but the girl, totally fine.
It's totally okay. Girls can get away with more than guys can.
Totally.
But then you also have to worry about the momzillas.
Ooh.
Then you got to worry about them.
Yes. Yes. Would you rather lose the wedding rings or the marriage license an hour before the ceremony?
The marriage license.
You would rather lose the marriage
Yeah.
license? Why?
Because you could always get it back.
Really?
What happens if you can't find the rings?
Well, if you lose the marriage license, can you not but get married?
Well, if it's already signed, the document, technically you're married, no? I'm pretty sure.
I don't know yet.
I'm not
I
even.
have to look into it still.
I would rather lose that, yeah.
Okay, fair
You
enough.
know how many people have forgotten their marriage license?
A lot?
Yes.
And they still get married and it's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's actually reassuring to know.
It's fine.
Because I agree. If you lose the rings, it's scary. But I thought if you lose the marriage license, you can't even get married. So
Well, usually
That would be scarier.
you sign the papers beforehand, no?
yeah, you do. You have to go pick it up.
Exactly.
It's true.
Yeah.
Would you rather have a best man speech that goes way too long or one that's way too honest?
Would I rather? Probably way too long.
Yeah.
I don't know what the person's going to say.
Yeah, sometimes too honest is not good. Would you rather have to iron 50 napkins or untangle 500 feet of fairy lights?
The napkins. 100% I'd rather do the napkins.
100% same. Would you rather organize a wedding in the pouring rain or during 100-degree weather?
100 degrees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Agreed.
I'd rather sweat than get wet.
Yeah, 100%. Would you rather have to call all 150 guests to change the venue or change the date?
Change the date.
Yeah.
I'd rather change the date
Why?
because it's going to take a lot of time to call 150 guests and tell them where you're going now.
Yeah. So true.
I would rather definitely change the date.
Last one.
All right.
Would you rather run a ceremony without Wi-Fi or without power?
Probably without Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
We can figure out music and something everywhere else.
Yeah. But power,
Power, no. It would be terrible.
it would be terrible. Do you guys have a generator?
We do.
Okay.
We do. Thank God.
You can figure it out.
We could figure it out.
Yeah. Amazing. Cassandra, thank you so much for joining me on Wedding Wednesday.
Thank you.
Please tell everybody where they can connect with you and if they want to work with you at PMG, if they want to book your venue.
So I work at Plaza 𝐸𝐶𝐬. So if you guys want to come down, you can come and see me whenever you want. I'm there Monday to Sunday.
If anybody wants to reach out to you, is there a place where they can reach out to you?
By phone, by email.
So we can give your email in the description.
Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
So by phone or by email.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you.
If anybody has a wedding horror story you'd like us to read on the pod, the completely anonymous, feel free to email it at hello@weddingwednesdaypod.com. If you enjoyed today's episode, please rate, review, subscribe, do all the things because it really does help our podcast grow. And with that, I will see you in the next episode. Bye for now.